Hi, so back again talking about IBS. Yesterday we talked about what it is, and today I'm just going to talk a little bit about the causes of it and why it might have started in the body. Now, it can often start when you're very young. It's been triggered from antibiotics. It could be triggered from food poisoning or a travel bug. It might not necessarily be from when you're young, but it's often that it starts to increase in severity as you age. Now, food poisoning is a huge one because what happens is when a bug gets in there that shouldn't be in there, it disrupts the gut, it starts to upset the lining of the stomach and the intestines, it creates inflammation, and then you end up having what's called dysbiosis in there, where you have good bacteria and you have bad bacteria in your gut. And sometimes the bad bacteria can take a hold and proliferate, and you start to get a lot of the bad symptoms that I explained yesterday: the cramping, the bloating, diarrhea, maybe nausea, stomach pains. Now, the same thing with the travel bug. You maybe picked up a parasite, you could have picked up a worm, you could have picked up any type of bug that is going to, again, feed off you, which is going to cause your IBS symptoms to be worse. So those are two really, really common ones, which often then get treated with antibiotics. And when you have antibiotics, that just completely blanket destroys all of the gut microbiome, which means then that bacteria can start to proliferate, meaning sometimes that the bad bacteria will come in when it takes over the space of where the good bacteria should be. Now, antibiotics in general is also another really big cause of IBS because, like I said, it just completely blanket kills all of the bacteria in your gut. And considering that our body is mostly bacteria and our gut has billions and billions of bacteria in it, and our immune system is mostly found in our gut, if we have any type of antibiotics, we are just killing off anything that is really any good for us, as well as killing off the bad bacteria. So antibiotics is a really major cause. So whether you had it from an infection, a lung infection, you could have, cut your arm and you had to have a course of antibiotics, then that is all going to contribute to the gut microbiome being disrupted. Now, you might also find that allergies and intolerances are also causes of IBS. And when you remove the allergies or the intolerances of foods that you have in the diet, then your symptoms start to clear up. Now, the biggest offenders are usually gluten and dairy. People remove them from the diet and actually things are much, much better. But it's also things like caffeine and alcohol. They can be really big triggers for people's metabolism to start moving and things to becoming a little bit looser and maybe not working as much as they should do. So try and pay attention to what it is that you could be triggering you. For often it's people with fatty foods. They notice that it just sort of starts to churn in the stomach, or you might find that you're not able to digest things. And start to pay attention to what it is that you're eating and see if that has a correlation with the symptoms that you're experiencing. Now, you might also find that certain foods start to make the symptoms worse. You might get more bloating or cramping, and that's with eating certain vegetables. And that's often to do with the bacteria in your gut. And it could be that the bacteria is eating the food because obviously bacteria wants to eat as well. And when it eats the foods, it produces gases. The gases expand in the stomach and in the intestines, and start to cause bloating. Now, people often get triggered as well by what's called the nightshade vegetables. So that's aubergines and tomatoes, and there's a whole family of vegetables that are really great for certain bacteria to eat, and they find that they're getting a lot more symptoms when they have them. So it's definitely worth keeping a bit of a diary to see what you're eating, and then you can start to eliminate them. Now, some people, or some women, should I say, also get misdiagnosed with IBS when they actually are struggling from either polycystic ovaries or endometriosis, because often that, down that area where the ovaries are, there can be a lot of pain, there can be a lot of pressure, there can be a lot of bloating that is caused by those reproductive conditions that I've just said there, the PCOS and the endometriosis. And I have so many women that come and see me and said, I was diagnosed with IBS for years before they actually uncovered that there was PCOS or endometriosis. So if you're struggling with any type of heavy periods or irregular periods, it's always worth getting them checked out, especially if you have digestive trouble as well, just to check if there's any correlation there between the two. So I'm going to say for tomorrow, stay tuned. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we can do to improve IBS, what you can do to reduce the symptoms. Any questions, please drop me a DM and I'll be happy to answer. Bye.